All right, folks, this is assignment 6.2, physical properties, and this one is kind of a review of things we've already done, but it takes it a little bit further. So we're going to play with a few different things with length, area, volume, weight, mass, and density. So if you've taken any physics or earth sciences or those kind of things, or even some math and geometry, you've probably already talked about most of these things. I mean, length and area should be pretty simple. You probably know that weight and mass are not actually the same thing. Mass is the amount of matter within a certain volume, or just the amount of matter that makes up an object. And then weight is the pull of gravity. So one little thing to be careful about here in this one is that we're going to use weight and mass interchangeably, which is going to be really weird, and it's going to feel odd, especially if you're coming from a math class or from a physics class. But bear with me, it'll make sense. So first things first, this one walks you through a few different questions. First is kind of matching situations with your vocabulary, and then we go into some blocks, and we're going to calculate a couple of important things, such as its density, some surface area, side lengths, all that kind of stuff. Later on, you're going to do that with a box and figure out volume, and then different areas on just certain sides. And then on this one, you're going to figure out how many, what the surface area is of just the area around, just the curved surface on these cans. You're going to do some calculations with this basketball key. So this one asks you how wide it is. This asks for the surface area. You're going to figure out the weight of this dumbbell, the weight of a gold bar, if you were to get 24 of them, or I think this number changes for everybody. And then trying to figure out which material is heaviest, figuring out where the center of gravity is. And for these ones, you're just doing the perimeter. These ones are going to look similar to stuff we did earlier in the year, back in second semester, or second term. And then this one is a volume. This one's a bonus question that doesn't have to be answered, but it is kind of fun to go for it and see if you can get it. So anyway, let's just kind of show you how you start this. And first things first, you're going to have to download the files here. So I'm going to click there. It's going to go into a Google folder that I've shared with you. You're going to click the top one, hold the Shift key, and then click down here, and that will highlight everything. You're going to right-click and say download. And it might take a minute. Sometimes it's really fast. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time. Sweet, mine was pretty quick. So I'm going to click on this to open it. And it's going to have this little thing up here that says extract all. And I'm going to say extract. It's going to ask where do I want to put it. And for now, just in your downloads is totally fine because we won't need this again after today. So just say extract. And then where it says block of dirt, you're going to double click on that one and it will open it up. So we're opening up Inventor. Just doing our thing. Sorry about that. This is going to take its sweet time. There we go. Okay, so we got the block of dirt. So a couple of things I'm going to just show you right off the bat how to find the areas and the length, the length of the sides and that kind of stuff. So two ways I can get to this. If I click M on my keyboard, it stands for measure. It's going to open up this tool that can do some measurements. And click on sides. Like if I click on just this edge right here, it'll tell me that length is 12 inches. If I click on just a surface here, it'll tell me what that surface area is. And its perimeter, which is nice. So it says 48 there, 144 there. If I wanted to get really crazy, I can go into, actually, another way to get there is you go Tools and Measure, and that will do the same thing. If I were to highlight the whole thing and then say Measure, Oh, actually, no, I think I might have to hold the shift key. And if I do the shift key like that, it will tell me what those are. But anyway, go back here to block of dirt. I'm going to right click on the part right here where it says block of dirt. I'm going to go down to iProperties, Physical, and I may have to click Update. And this is going to be a ton of information. It's going to say the material right here, so it's made of earth, so we're going to say it's dirt essentially. This tells me what its density is. This, it says its mass, area, and its volume. So you've got all three of those right there. If you want to get really crazy, it will also tell you its center of gravity. We'll calculate that in another way down the road. I'm going to show you in just a minute. But this one right here where it says mass, it sounds weird, but if gravity is constant in the U.S. customary system, the system we use, so if you're on Earth, essentially, mass and volume, mass and weight have the same numerical value. So it says pound mass right here. That sounds really weird, but it's, so you have 81 mass units, which is technically slugs, or pounds in this sense. So the value is the same. So this block of dirt weighs 81 pounds. That's kind of how you do that. All right, so that kind of answers the first few questions about how to get that. When you get to the box, you're just going to calculate volume and figure out the front's area, the perimeter of only the top. When you get to the can, this number here will be randomly generated. So you may not have 7, you might have a different number. And you're going to calculate this, then the surface area here, and then multiply it by that in order to get the full number. And remember, when you're entering your values, you just enter the number. You don't have to worry about entering the unit. It will do it for you. Okay, and those ones are all pretty much the same. When you get to problems like this, you're going to open that up and figure out what its weight is. So to do that again, just like we did with the block here, you go right click on the part, iProperties, Physical, and it's that number right there. Okay, and then on this one with the gold bar, I'm going to change my block into a few different things just to show you what that does. So in here I can change the material. So let's say I made it glass. It will update all of this for me, and now it weighs 136 pounds. So now it's quite a bit heavier than it was before. If I go to, let's say, high density polyethylene, now it's only about 60 pounds. So it's quite a bit lighter. And then if I do something like titanium, it gets really heavy. So it's 281.5 pounds, and then it gets massively dense if I go to gold. Gold is very, very, very heavy. Gold, a square block of gold weighs that much. So 1,200 pounds. So it's really, really dense, super dense. All right, so I would use that one for that technique on this one where you're trying to figure out which is the heaviest. I would just use the block or the gold bar and then just change the material in there and it'll tell you. You just kind of play a game of which is bigger. All right, when you get to the sprocket, I'm going to show you as an example with this. I can go to, I believe it's Tools. Nope, View. That's what it was. View. And I click Center of Gravity. What that just did is it highlights where the center of gravity is. So if I were to throw this in the air and it just went like flying through space, it would pivot about that point because that is the center of mass. Which is pretty cool. So that's the exact center where it's the average point that represents the average mass across all axes. Which is pretty cool. All right. And then on that one, you'll just click the area on the sprocket that represents that point. Okay, anyway, that's it. So it really should be pretty easy. This one can be retaken as many times as you want for highest score. Just know that some of the questions are formulas, meaning that they will change every time you retake it. So just be careful not to enter the same thing twice. If on all of them. Most of them will be the same, but there's a handful that are they've got variables in them. So anyway, that is the whole thing. Good luck and have fun.